Thanks for taking the time today. It's nice to speak with you.
Nice to speak with you, Kyle.
Uh, so the relationship between Dave and Rebecca is essential to make the show work. What did you and Daniel Dae Kim do to develop that rapport?
So that was something that I was nervous about when I first got the job for sure, but Daniel made it super easy. He is so warm and collaborative, and he and I worked together a lot on our own. We were both there a month before we started shooting, and we would have dinner together all the time and just do a lot of backstory and come up with specific memories that we shared before he died so that we had it like deeply in us by the time we were doing these scenes. And we're not talking about these things that we discuss, but we carry it. And I think that really changed the weight of the family dynamic. After she believed that her father died and she had nobody, she decided to go the route of I'm so strong, I'm fearless, and I'll kill you, and I don't care. Kind of like this sociopath mask, if you will. But as soon as she sees her dad, that bubble is burst, and I think she's like constantly like trying to like will herself back into this mindset of like I don't care about anything, and I'll kill you. And wait, that's my dad, and I've like yearned for this feeling of family my whole life that's been taken away from me. So I really think that that is the character is not knowing and just kind of like living in that question of like how do I live like this? Daniel said it really beautifully earlier today that a way that his parents expressed love to him, they never said I love you. Their way of showing that they loved him was saying asking him if he was hungry or if he had eaten that day. And I think a lot of us Asian Americans can really relate to that. And that's really interwoven into the series. Like, in the first episode, he makes me hot dog before I even like see him. And that's his way of kind of like priming me with an I love you before I even realize that it's him that's doing it. And I really relate to that. And also Daniel's just constantly doing dad jokes and just being like generally like a dad in a lot of ways. So it was very easy for me to just kind of be like, all right, dad, So I feel super lucky for that.
I think one of the aspects of the show that really makes Butterfly stand out is the on-location filming. It gives a really cinematic, epic feel to it. Can you talk about what that was like filming in those locations and your experience traveling?
Thank you for asking that. It's honestly one of my favorite parts of shooting this was being able to see so much of South Korea. We shot in over 20 cities and we show so many different textures that you don't normally see, I feel. And I felt like I was learning so much about the country just by doing this work. And I don't have like a single location. Oh, no, there's one location that I think of that I was like, okay, that wasn't very fun. And that was at the truck depot. And that's because it just smelled like gasoline and there was just nothing but trucks around. But most of the time, it was just fascinating wherever we were. I feel so lucky that productions take you to so many interesting places. I've been to so many interesting places just through work that I don't feel like I would have had the chance to go to had I not chosen this path as my career. South Korea was phenomenal. And our crew, the hardest working, best people. I feel like everybody says this in interviews, but honestly, it's true. You become family and you gain family in other parts of the world that you never would have met before. And it makes me feel like life is so much richer because of it. And it's like, wow, I have like a home in these people in these other countries that I never would have had. I'm saying I never would have had a lot, but it's true. I always feel that way of like, this is crazy, but it's something that I really, really love. And to tell this story specifically that's uniquely Asian American, Daniel says it all the time that it really is a bridge between Asia and America, and to be able to showcase that instead of like this is just like an Asian thing or this is just an American thing. I feel incredibly lucky, and I feel like we live that experience as well through shooting it. So yeah.
Have you actually seen the finished product start to finish?
I mean, yes, not entirely finished because there were a few things that were not done editing wise, but I did see overall what we have created here. Yeah.
Okay, so that falls into my next question would be a lot of happening away from Rebecca with Caddis and Juno and everything. Since you're not in those scenes and you don't interact with like Piper and those actors till later, what was it like seeing the other half of everything that was going on when you finally saw the finished product?
I mean, it completed the picture. It was really nice because a lot of the time filming, we were in the same hotel. So Piper and Louie and Charles and I, like, we would see each other, but for the majority of the shoot, we were siloed off in different worlds. Daniel and I were running around all over Korea, going to these incredible locations, and Piper and Louie were on a soundstage a lot of the time. So finally seeing everything woven together was so deeply satisfying. I'm like, okay, this is the world that we've been building for 6 months. And doing that final scene, few scenes, I'll say the entire episode basically of episode 6 with Piper was so cathartic because there was so much anticipation leading up to this moment. I think that we were both able to use within our characters and fueled us as actors.